Well, hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC out here at the Avon Park Field. We're going to take up the Ranger 1800mm sent to me by FMS. Sorry, Mama and my son both had to work, so it's just me and the Hat Cam. And actually, it's what it is. It's my Samsung Galaxy Ultra 26 mounted on a head mount on the forehead. Looks stupid, but it does a decent job for when you're filming by yourself. But we're going to take up this Ranger. Reset. I got a 4000 smart pack in there. And you have to excuse my voice, I sound kind of weak. I'm getting over a cold. Wind is kind of out of the west, kind of down the runway, more angled, but we'll deal with it. Y'all know I've always got wind on my channel for whatever reason. Taking off in the optimized mode, or which is their wind mitigation mode with the Ranger. I installed the Reflex version 3 in the plane because it was just a straight plug and play. It was sent to me by FMS for review. It's just a good solid Ranger. It's no different really than the 1220, other than the fact it's just bigger and it's got lights and flaps. But it's still the same basic airframe. It behaves the same. It's just a whole lot bigger. And they always say bigger flies better. And I think that's mainly because the weight involved. And it's just bigger. You can see it a little bit better. It just has a little, you're able to interpret what the plane is doing a little bit easier. So it is a little bit windy. There. But like Steph and RC will tell you, the key to a good landing is a good approach. And if you don't have a good approach, then you might as well just go around and start over. But right now we're already on a little bit of cross breeze, so I got to be on my rudder game. But it's really a good idea when you, especially in just this is what I call maintenance flying. And basically what I'm doing, that was lousy. Basically all I'm doing is I'm just coming out here with a battery, a couple of batteries, and I'm just doing touch and goes, takeoffs and landings, just sharpening my muscle memory skill with that plane and how that plane reacts. And one of the best ways to do that is to just do touch and goes. Just come out, just start doing your landings and takeoffs, landings and takeoffs. There is no other skill that is more important than landing and taking off anyways. Just come in for a nice gentle touch. You know, there's no reason you have to go crazy. Plane's got a big, wide, buttery wing, so it doesn't take much to keep it in the air. But don't get so slow that you drop a wing. So as long as you got airflow enough to keep that wing up, you're okay. So you gotta know your plane. The only way to do that is just keep flying it. There, just keep flying it. I purposely have, I usually run like a 3600 or a large 3200 in it. I got a 4000 in there today, all the way forward. So she's a little on the nose heavy side, but that's because of the wind. There. See if I can do that again. Do that one wheel thing. That's kind of fun. When you got this wind, it helps because you're kind of, that wind kind of helps hold it in the air. Well, she's got the power to get out of Dodge. But it's all about learning your plane, how she reacts in the wind, how she reacts in the air, developing that feel, as I like to call it.
Time remaining 4 minutes.
See if we can't do a wheelie. Get on my rudder. There, wheelie. Doesn't mean you can't have some fun too.
Landing flaps. Flaps up. Landing flaps.
Fun to do this with the plane into the wind, put the flaps down.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
And try to land as small a space as possible, so it's stow landing.
Takeoff flaps.
That's fun.
Flaps up.
Now, if you put in takeoff flaps and you apply enough throttle and she starts taking off on her own without you having to use any elevator, and she just lifts off gently on her own, then you know your takeoff flap mix is perfect. Well, doing no flap landing this time. Wheelie, 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 wheelie. Never, I don't think the nose ever touched. There, I gotta give myself a victory tumble there.
Landing flaps.
This is great. This actually could be your first plane if it wasn't for the size. The only reason I don't recommend it is because it's a little more expensive and it's a lot bigger. And it has
time remaining 2 minutes.
The batter's a little more expensive. You got the more larger 4S.
Flaps up.
Whereas the Ranger 1220 is perfect because it runs on a 1300 up to a 2200 3S, very economical battery. And a lot of people have those already. So, but if you're okay with expense and putting in a little more expensive battery, this definitely could make could be your first plane, no problem. A wheelie, a little bit of wheelie. Let's do a nice big loop there.
Landing flaps.
All right, now I'm going to do a dead stick landing, keeping my finger off the throttle. I don't have any choice.
Flaps up.
All right, we're going to do that again, but I'm going to get up high, I'm going to cut the throttle, and we're going to bring it in for a dead stick landing. And you're going to understand that your approach needs to be a little steeper. If you have a dead stick, you need to put that nose down and dive the best you can. All right, throttle's off. As long as I'm diving, I got some air going over that wing, maintaining lift. There. But if you have a bounce like that on a dead stick landing, don't beat yourself up. You got the plane down on one piece. Let's do that again. And let's say you're up there, you're dead stick, and you lost control of your flaps, and your flaps were down.
Landing flaps.
All right. I have no throttle and my flaps are down, so I've got some natural resistance. That means I got to pick up some speed to counteract those flaps. There you go. Prop still is turning because it's freewheeling. All right. Still got 41 seconds. Let's just take off real quick. I want to show you real quick the great stall characteristics of this plane. All right, you're flying along, you lose power. You hold up elevator, up elevator, up elevator. Look what it does. It just starts turning, slowly turning downwards. No power, just holding up elevator.
30 seconds.
That gives a new pilot plenty of time to think.
Landing flaps.
And the smaller Ranger does the exact same thing. It just starts, you hold up elevator, turn the motor off, it just starts slowly turning in a circle. Now it'll start picking up speed and it'll start turning quicker and then you're out of control, but it gives you enough time to think about what you're doing.
Flaps up.
Can't leave it that way.
10.
Gotta have one nice greaser. All right, no flaps this time. And that's what I'm looking for right there. Now, if you notice, what I did, well, that's your classic tricycle gear landing.
Timer expired.
You want your mains to touch and then allow that to pull your nose down. Meanwhile, you're holding that elevator to kind of allow that to happen. And all that's based upon your throttle and your airspeed. You get it with feel. You get it with feel. All right, we were 2 seconds over. Let's cut the prop. We'll go back to the bench and we'll talk about it.
The prop is secured.
All right, we're back. Let me show you the rates that I flew in. Okay, 100% throws, 30% expo on aileron, on elevator, and 40% expo on rudder. Okay, flap systems. There is a mix. Flaps up, negative 100%, no mix. Takeoff, 0%, 15% down elevator. Landing, 100%, 40% down elevator, and that's on a 2-second deployment. Now, let me show you what that graphically looks like. Alrighty. Here's what your ailerons look like. 100%, 30% expo, elevator. 100%, 30% expo, rudder. 100%, 40% expo. Okay. Here's my flap settings. I just told you. Here's what that looks like.
Takeoff flaps. Landing flaps.
You can see that elevator go down.
Flaps up.
Alrighty. Now let's go in the front of the plane here. We were over 2 seconds on a 7-minute timer. Okay, let me show you my battery placement real quick. That's where I've got the 4000 tucked underneath it. Spectrum Smart Pack tucked underneath there. Hold on just a moment. Pause. Okay. After over 7 minutes of flying, we still had 26% left with 37, 37, 37, and 37, for a total of 26% per cell. Hold on. Now, once you see that reflex down in there? See how it's flashing there? That's in the optimized mode. Okay, once that fast flash, that's optimized mode.
Manual mode.
Okay, with manual mode, in other words, no gyro is turned off. It's just kind of an intermittent flash, kind of a slower flash.
Stabilized
and then
mode.
with safe or self-leveling mode or beginner mode, the reflex is on all the time. And I have that programmed to this 3-position switch.
Manual optimized mode.
Well, there you go. And CG on the plane, it's kind of, I can't really hold the camera and check the CG at the same time, but I can show you on the underside. Maybe I can without wrecking the plane here. Hold on. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Just bear with me here. All right. CG is 85 to 75 millimeters back from the leading edge root. This is the front of the wing. And you see that tape right there? If you put your finger right behind that tape, right beyond that edge of that tape, that's your first point of CG of 75, and then 85 is right there. So if you put your finger back here and you get your battery balanced right there, then you're good. Anywhere, just put basically a finger pad width behind that tape there, and that gives you good CG. Just a good looking plane. The green is very easy to see. It has nav lights on it, as you can see. It's got a landing light in the front. Navs on both sides. Field assembly is pretty simple. You just pull these pins here for the struts, fold them out of the way, and then 4 bolts hold the wing on. What I do is I take the pin out, pull the strut out, pull the wing out, put the wing tube, I put it inside the model. I just open the hatch and put it in there. And it stays in there just fine, okay? And then I take the 2 screws out, and then I take the wing off, and then I take those 2 screws and I put them back in the fuselage. They just screw right back in. That way I never lose them. They're always with the plane. And then the pins, I leave them, I undo them, but I put them back through the plastic strut here, and that way they're connected there. That way I never lose any of the hardware. It stays with the plane at all times, and I don't have to store it somewhere else and then forget it. So, and believe it or not, those landing gear are supposed to be raked forward. That's how they're supposed to be, just to let you know. I've had it the other way, and she does not land right at all. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. God bless y'all. Stay tuned. We're going to get us a little bit of a camera roll, and God bless y'all. Jesus is Lord, and don't forget, faith, family, and friends, and then Rangers from FMS. Bye-bye.